Now, once you have ripped your media, so you've got some digital files, TV shows or movies, then you need to get them into iTunes. So here is one movie, one I converted before using Handbrake. And to get it into iTunes, I can either drag it in, hold it and drag it in. It'll go into, by default, it goes into the movies section. You can see it coming in there. And it just so happens this is a movie, but sometimes when you're doing TV shows and you have them digitized and you drag them in, you don't want them to appear in the movies section. You want them to appear in TV shows. The other way to get your media in is just to go to File, Add to Library, and find the file, and it will either take a file or a folder. But once you've got the media in there, you need to complete the information, put some tags in. If it's a TV show, put in the series, etc. So let's just look at something that's already done. So there's um, a program called All Saints, and this one's season 8, episode 1, and the title of it's Happy New Year. So you can see all this information here. That making it easier to find metadata for it, putting in the season, putting in the episode, and having that annotation in that format. So it's always with the capital S and then a 0 before the season number, and then the episode has a 0 if it's in single digits. When you come down here, you've got the double digits. Then the dots between it, the full stops, title. You want to put the show in, the season, and the episode number, so it makes it easy to find everything. So if I right-click on that and select Get Info, you can see all of the information. When you rip a TV show, and this one's come from the All Saints DVD, I have to put all that information in. If I'm downloading a movie from iTunes, then iTunes will provide all that information. So when you right-click, you have your summary pane. So it gives you the title, which is what I've selected for it when I was ripping it in Handbrake, and it tells me all the information about where that file's come from and its size and its codec, so how big it is. So it tells me it's encoded with Handbrake, and that it has 2 audio tracks on it. So if I was to play this through an Apple TV that was connected to a TV with surround sound, it would play with digital 5.1. Because I don't, it just plays it stereo. And it's MPEG-4, in particular it's codec, so I know that's going to play on any Apple product. And it also tells me where that particular file is stored in my media library, so I can go and find that if I need to. And that all comes in with the file when you bring it in. You can't change that, but you can change all these things. So in the info panel, what I would normally add there is the album and the artist. So this one comes from the All Saints, which is there's 8 or 9 seasons of all these files, and I want to separate them all into the different seasons. So I actually indicate there in the album that this is season 8. So you haven't got one long continuous list of files from All Saints when they could be subdivided up into more easier to find and filter and search for sections. And you can add whatever else you want in there. You can put in the genre if you want to, because you can search by that. I don't care to use that one. Part of a compilation. The year that it was produced, and for some of them I've done that. For this one I haven't. In video, the show All Saints and the episode and the season number and the episode number and a description. If I am lucky, and if I go into the browser and go into the IMDb database, and it may have a description of that show. So it's All Saints season 8, episode 4. And I found a lot of descriptions that way. So when you're playing something in a player, so when you play something in a player, you want to see what the episode's about before you actually play it. So I can look for All Saints. I know that's the series, and we're looking for season 8, episode 4. already see there's no descriptions here. There's the episode begging for it, but there's no description there. That's where I normally take it. So unless I write one myself, I'm out of luck. If I look at some of the other seasons, just to show you some, there's some seasons which which do have a description. So I would take that, copy it, and then paste it into the description here for video. Make sure you put in the season number and the episode number so that it is in numerical order, easier to find. Sorting, I mean, you can go into quite some depth with your tab. With that just appears there from the previous panes. The options, this is where you actually tell iTunes what sort of media it is. So if it was a TV show, and remember everything that comes in is going to have a movie as its genre. And if it's a TV show, you want it to be in the TV show section, so you've got to change it. And you've got all these other ones now. With the latest iTunes, you can have a podcast and iTunes music videos. You want to tag everything correctly. So it's a TV show, and I can add more to it here. I like to remember the playback position, so when I'm playing something through Apple TV and I don't finish it, it will remember when I go back where I was and ask me, do I want to resume playing or start from the beginning? You can adjust the volume, so if something like a song that's been brought in is a bit low, you can adjust it for the music files. And lyrics, if it was a song, remember you've got the music here as well. You can put in the lyrics and artwork. If I really wanted to, I'm using a media server like Plex or even Apple TV, and it's just showing me the titles of the show. I can have the actual artwork, and again, I'd have to go and find that on the internet and add that in as an image. And then when you've done all of that tagging, you just click OK. And normally it doesn't take that long before it fixes it. Now, if I look at a different TV show, just to show you another one, an example of one. This one, Department S. So right click, get info. And this is another one that I've had to rip off the original DVD using Handbrake. Got the artwork, so I just went onto a website, found that, added it as an image, and changed it to TV show. And in the video, you've got the title of the show, the episode ID and the season number and the episode number, and then you get the description. Again, all the info in that one hasn't been put into an album. It's usually the same in a summary. So everything that comes in, so this one here, movies, the file we just brought in, which was the squirrel or something. I can find it. What it was called. Let's change and have a look at, sort that by 5th of February today. There it is, Mission Impossible Squirrel. So that's the file I've just brought in. I get info. That's only a small one. It's just a YouTube video. But what I should do is add some tags. Ensure whatever it might be. I might have an actual, because I haven't got a series, I might put this into YouTube so that all the YouTube videos are in the same album, so they're easier to find. There's not much to change here. It's not a home video, it's a movie. I've got to change that. It will stay in there when I actually sync anything to iPad. I want to watch a movie. Then the iPad distinguishes between movies and TV shows. And then I can sort it again by name. So in iTunes, you've got all the ability to have different fields. So by right-clicking, I can add different fields, and I can then sort things by those fields. And then that is ready to go. So every one of my movies and TV shows, we'll sort of scroll down here slowly, has all got this metadata in it. There is a program called MetaX, which I have used, but I haven't used it consistently. But I just ripped this one recently as time goes by, starting with season 3, and I think we're up to season 7, and it doesn't take that long to stick it into Handbrake and rip them all and through the Handbrake process, identify each episode and type in this information as part of the ripping process, and then all you have to do when it comes in, get info. Once it's been ripped and you've dragged it into iTunes, and it will go, as it's a TV show, it'll go straight into the movies because that's its default. So all I've had to add is this information here, the title, the episode, go onto the IMDb database and find the episode description. That's all I've added. Everything else I've left because I did all of this as I ripped it. And I have a consistent format into how I do that. So to get the movie over to your iTunes, so we'll go back to data and back to movies and to the top there. So that's the one now. I want to get that movie onto iTunes to watch. So to iPad, sorry, my iPad is here, and it's sort of ready to sing, and it's constantly there, ready to sing, even though my iPad is not connected to this machine, because in the summary I've actually said sync with this iPad over Wi-Fi. So my iPad's in another room at the moment, but because I've selected that and it's in the same house and it's on the same network, I can sync that from wherever I am and just add to it and keep adding to it. I want to add that movie that I just copied from and converted and put into iTunes. I want to put that on the iPad now. And I know it's a movie, so I can click in the movies thing, and then I want to find that movie. I've actually selected sync movies, so any movie that is selected here will be synced across to the iPad. And at the moment, I don't have too many because I haven't got too much space left. So I've got to find that particular one. It was called Mission Impossible. That one, I want that synced over to my iPad. Now, if I wanted more movies, then I would select different ones that I wanted synced across. If I wanted all the movies, if I had enough space, then I could just do that. But I only want a couple, so I've selected the one I want, apply, and then it will start to sync that process. And you can see here that's how much of space I've got left out of a 64 gigabyte iPad. There's only 6 free, and it's now waiting to start the syncing process. And there's 6 steps in that, so it can take a bit of time just to try and find the iPad and start it, but eventually it will finish. And the syncing's now, it's up to step 3 now. So it updates your apps, it imports the photos, and then it should start to copy across any other media. Downloading Safari, and there it goes, copying that movie across. And it's a small movie, so it's not going to take too long. And that movie now is on my iPad, and I can play that movie through the Videos app in the iPad. So any movies I don't want on there, I deselect them. This is sort of how you sync your media across. If I had TV shows that I wanted to get across, I go into that tab and select the TV show. So first of all, you have to select it. So I do want to sync TV shows. But I only want to automatically include all episodes of selected shows, again because of space. So I think I've only got one. I think I've got my Doctor Who collection, edited collection on their iPad, and not much else because I don't have the room. So if I wanted to watch something else, I'd have to get some media off. So I'd maybe deselect all of these. I don't want them on anymore, and put something else on if I want to watch something else. And you do the same with music. My music is managed by iTunes Match. So all my music's in the cloud. So any music that is on my iPad, so we go back into the iPad, and any music that I want to play, I actually have to download from the cloud. So all that's in the cloud. Nothing is actually on the iPad unless on the iPad itself I go into music and say download these. So music's a little bit different. Right, that's how you manage your media in iTunes.